Shane, you're throwing out some pretty big names, but I want to throw out one that's going to make you very happy. Ryan Deakin. We promised that the Northwestern 157-pounder would be with us throughout the course of the show, and guess what? Here he is. We'll chat with Ryan next as we continue here on Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond. We know Ryan Deakin can wrestle. Now we know he cannot promote himself, at least not when asked to do so on the spot. Listen, those promotional videos are never easy. What was that like when they're asking you to do that, to give the cat roar, to yell? It's just not your personality to do it.
Yeah, it's just awkward, uncomfortable, and then, you have your buddies. I think Luke was standing there behind there looking at me every time, so I could not keep a straight face. And those days, I'm glad those media days are done.
Well, the good news is that doesn't count. What matters is what you do on the mat. We've only had the chance to see, I think, 8 times this year, 3 in Big Ten duels. So you've been kind of off and on. Part of it, obviously, is based on the world that we live in right now. Part, perhaps, making sure that you're ready for the Big Tens and the NCAAs. How do you kind of balance that desire to wrestle and the understanding that your coaches may know what's best for you going through the course of the year?
Yeah, I think just trusting in my coaches and understanding. I think they've been here before, so knowing to trust in them, and I have full belief that they've always steered me the right way, and so I think just always staying ready and trying to do everything I can in my power to continue to improve in my wrestling and just keep going forward with all that.
You're from Colorado, 2-time Big Ten champion for the Wildcats. How did you get to Northwestern?
So I did a summer camp out here. That's kind of how I saw Northwestern first, maybe in sophomore, junior year of high school. So one of my best friends growing up, his dad was a 4-time All-American, Mike Funk, at Northwestern. So I kind of heard about it growing up from his dad, and then I checked it out, and I just loved Northwestern, fell in love with the people here and Chicago, and the rest is history.
Now, we were joking a bit. Northwestern's an amazing school. This area is fantastic to live in, but as a Colorado guy who enjoyed the mountains, enjoyed some skiing, enjoyed all that altitude, we don't have a lot of that around here. So nice to get back home, I assume, sometime too, and kind of smell that fresh mountain air. For
sure. I think skiing, snowboarding doesn't, unfortunately, it's kind of during the wrestling season. So haven't gotten to do that as much last few years, but in the spring, there's still some good snow. So like to go back and do that, and some hiking in the summer and stuff. So Colorado's always a great time to get back there and, see some family and friends.
If you could give yourself some advice coming out of high school in preparing to wrestle in the Big Ten, what would you tell yourself then?
I think continue to just keep a positive attitude and wrestling every day and looking to improve. And I think those small improvements stack up. And I think that also just relaxing and understanding that, trusting in your coaches, trusting in your teammates, and enjoy the process.
I know that you're focused on 157 because that's where you wrestle, and the goal this year is to win your first national championship at that weight class. How much do you watch other guys inside and maybe nationally outside the Big Ten at other weight classes?
Yeah, I think, I love wrestling. I'm a fan of the sport, but I'm also in season. I probably watch wrestling a little bit less from a fan lens, and I'm more, competitor lens, and maybe looking at some outside technique or something from some world championships or things like that. So I love watching wrestling, but not until the college season's over do I watch it from more of just a pure enjoyment, a lens like that. It's more the competitor lens.
All right, so we can't just talk wrestling. We can't be serious about this. Time to have some fun now with Ryan Deakin. We're going to play a 3-question game called Who Am I?
Okay.
Now, the answers to all these questions are either current Northwestern teammates or coaches or former Wildcat wrestlers.
Okay.
So there are the ground rules. Shane gets question number 1.
All right, Super Bowl Sunday, less than a week away. Cincinnati Bengals, of course. From the AFC, who am I? My sister is a former Cincinnati Bengal cheerleader.
Mike D'Agostino.
Absolutely correct. We can see up there that Ryan absolutely nailed question number one. There is Michael's sister, former cheerleader for the Cincinnati Bengals. Good luck to the Bengals, by the way. I'm rooting for Cincy this weekend.
We gotta, I don't know if Mike's gonna love this, but fun fact, so when he moved in freshman year, his mom gave a poster with the Bengals cheerleaders to my roommate Luke Davison. So we have that poster up on the fridge right now. So
and Mike has been wanting to rip it down ever since Mom gave it to the team.
That's yeah.
All right. Question number two. Who am I? I survived not only a small plane crash, but also a boat capsizing at sea to be where I am right now.
Wow. I don't know if I know this one.
So think outside the box, not necessarily just teammates, but someone that's part of your program. You're in trouble because it's your head coach.
Storney.
Storney
No way.
is the guy that apparently, according to Shane, drummed up these stories. These are true stories.
Yeah, when he was in middle school, he said his dad took him and his sister to an air show. They were giving away free plane rides, and they had like a crash landing into a field. And then he was off Nicaragua, and his boat capsized. They had to get rescued, and
Wow,
well, there you go.
I did not know that.
Explain some stuff about your head coach. All right, Shane, you get the third and final question.
Who am I? I am the last Northwestern Wildcats to wrestle for an NCAA championship at 157 pounds.
Jason Welch.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good job.
And let's hope that question is not accurate anymore after the 2022 season because we want to see Ryan Deakin wrestling. Check out the young Ryan Deakin. You were wrestling at 157 right there.
No.
That was a much lighter weight.
Yep.
Fantastic stuff. And Sebastian Rivera next to you as well, former Northwestern teammate, now doing great things at Rutgers. He'll be part of a conversation that we have a little bit later in the show. Ryan's going to hang around for that conversation as well. This was how Ryan Deakin announced his return to Northwestern prior to this season. Very simple, unfinished business. And we can tell that it was a bit easier for Ryan with just the Twitter picture here than it was doing the video promo that we showed you earlier in the show. Ryan's back with us, Rick Pizzo, Shane Sparks as well. And Shane, before we get Ryan's thoughts on the NCAAs, I want to get your take on the top 5 wrestlers in this conference who haven't yet won an NCAA title, but are most likely to do so this year.
Well, when you win a Big Ten championship, you are capable of winning a national title. Look at this list. Ryan Deakin, he's number 1 on my list at 157, 2-time Big Ten champion, 3-time All-American. And look at Amin, Ncaa, Rivera, and Ironman. Those guys, multiple-time All-Americans, and they are all Big Ten champions.
We mentioned the fact earlier in the show that Sebastian Rivera used to be your teammate at Northwestern. What do you make of Sebastian and his chances? That is an absolutely loaded weight class where he's at.
Yeah, I think Sebastian is a phenomenal wrestler. I think anytime he's on the mat, he's dangerous. So I would love to see him win it. I think he's got everything going for him. He's had a great year. I'm excited to watch him go make that come true in March.
What does it take, Ryan, at the NCAAs? Because in a duel, you wrestle once. Sometimes you have one day off. Sometimes you have a whole week off before you go back at it. You get to the NCAAs, it is bout after bout, and you don't have the opportunity to make a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's, staying focused, and it's that, in between matches, you're relaxing, and then when you're on the mat, it's tightening everything up and making sure that you're staying on your offense. And, I think a lot of guys tighten up there, so it's staying loose there and having fun with it, I think, has been the best recipe.
Shane?
When you look back at your Northwestern career, of course, unfinished business, but up to this point, what are you most proud of?
I think just, the relationships I've built here. I think Northwestern has been, far exceeded anything I could have expected coming in. It's just phenomenal people, phenomenal teammates, phenomenal coaches, friends. And I think that's something that's going to last way past, college wrestling.
Well said. Wrestling is fantastic. There are things above and beyond the sport. We truly appreciate you coming into studio. Ryan Deakin, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
For Ryan, for Shane Sparks, I'm Rick Pizzo. That wraps up this edition of Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond. Once we're done, the mics come off. Shane and Ryan are putting the singlets on. They're going at it right here. We'll show it to you on next week's edition of Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond.